Hey IDs, welcome to Module 5. This is another really exciting one. We're on our way to starting with our course planning, and the project should be underway right now. And that's an exciting place to be. Anytime when you're in the exciting part, the planning part, it's really good. So I'm hoping you're enjoying that. I'm hoping you're getting together with your groups and considering what you're thinking about doing for your course project. And we'll have plenty of time to get ourselves going through all of that. It's a number of different steps, but it's a progressive project. You do little pieces every week. It's not going to be an overwhelming thing as long as you're doing your best to keep up and stay on the schedule that we kind of have embedded within the course. So that's it's really kind of development schedule. That's been kind of laid out for us in that way. So just try to take advantage of that and move along progressively and move toward your final goal. It's going to happen sometime in the earlier part of the spring. So this week is objectives and outcomes. And what are those things? A lot of times those words and those terms are kind of used interchangeably, and they mean different things to different people. What is the difference between an objective and an outcome? Well, I can tell you right now, the way that I kind of discriminate the two is the way that Robert Mager does. Robert Mager is pretty distinct about how he describes them. The outcome is the big one, and that's the one where we can equate an outcome with the word result, and actually he does that, right? It's kind of like one and the same, in that what is it that you want your student to have acquired or learn or be able to do when the learning is finished? It's an outcome. It's a result. That's it. That's what your goal is, right? Objectives actually are the means by which you get to your outcome. And by acquiring these little skills, ultimately you're going to be able to do what it is that the big goal of the course or of the learning or of the training is, which is the outcome. So think of it that way. When you're thinking about outcomes, what is it that you want your students to be able to do? And then how are you going to do it? And that's what the objectives are going to be able to do to help you with that. So you're going to get into a little bit of reading with that. You're going to be heavy into Robert Mager's work this week, and it's good stuff. I'm going to tell you right now that the way the objectives are done with us in this particular course, anyway, at least when we're deriving and planning our objectives, is I ask you to do it in the Mager way. And you'll see that the Mager way may be a little bit different than you may have experienced objectives before, in that they have three pieces to it. Normally, we just deal with the performance piece, right? And that's one of the three in Mager. But there's also two other ones that are embedded in a very robust objective and or outcome, and when we're writing them. And there's a reason that I like to use those the Mager way, and it is you're really forced to really think about what it is that you want your students to do and to be able to do. It really forces you to think that way. And as you'll see, for the sake of the assignment, I want you to be able to do it the Mager way. If you decide that you want to just do it as a performance in your course, then that's okay. But I want you to be able to show or demonstrate that you can write a Mager type of performance objective in the first place. And then in your course, you can decide how you want to use it, if that makes any sense. So just kind of be wary of that. There have been some times, in the last few runs of this course where there isn't, we're kind of missing the two other pieces in Mager. So just make sure you're attentive. And reading through and understand what a Mager objective looks like, so that you can draft your own. Okay. So there's that. That's an exciting Module 5 week. The second and last thing I want to talk about is about the discussions from last week. One of the things I want to do is I want to make sure that we're clear on what the expectations are for the discussion. If you go into the discussion board, and that is, you click on the discussion board, which is in the left navigation of the landing page in the course, it actually tells you that the discussions should be between 300 and 400 words, and there's a reason for that. In order to have a really robust discussion, you've got to have some pieces of evidence and some, some analysis that's going along with it. And that is, okay, well, I have my idea, but I also need to support it with something. And how do you support it? You support it with the reading from the week, the lecture from the week, and or your own experience. And so we need to be including those things. We can't just be making simple statements and saying this is the way it is without any supported evidence. All right, and I think that was a little bit lacking this week. And so when I'm thinking, I don't want anyone to think that I'm going in there and I'm word counting everyone and say, oh, it isn't 300 words. But I can tell you that if it's short of 300 words, my experience is that it probably doesn't have the quite amount of evidence that we need in order to be a really thoughtful discussion. So as a class and as a group, let's see if we can do a little bit of job of that in the coming weeks. Just so we have a bit, because a good discussion post from one person is good for everybody, as far as I'm concerned. If it's a really good one, then it's going to be valuable. And you can really tell the difference between one that has the evidence and has examples and has connections with the reading, as opposed to ones that are just making simple statements about certain things. So kind of keep that in mind for the next coming discussions. Just remember that. And one thing I'm going to do is I'll add into my course and make sure that that's fully evident that the requirement is supposed to be 300 words, because it's unless you go to the actual discussion board, you might not see that. But it should be clearer to you all that that's what's expected. Okay, so objectives and outcomes. Enjoy them this week. Have a terrific week, and we'll see you online. Bye bye.